This is the Mooncast.
See you, space cowboy.
I'm just excited to finally get a chance to talk to you, man. It's interesting.
Thanks for having me.
The project, man, it's really, really interesting, man. And I have so many questions to ask you, but I don't know if I should just start with, is Solana taking over the crypto space?
It seems like it. I think when Jupiter had launched their airdrop and did all that, they had flipped Uniswap for the most DEX transactional volume in a day. I think Uniswap got their title back, but it kind of just shows that Solana is very powerful, attracting all the new projects, got the latest and greatest utilities, the latest and greatest memes. It's here to stay.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What are your thoughts on, because I know they have like these sort of outages. Like I don't know, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, since the beginning of crypto, there's always been outages, right? I think a lot of Ethereum blockchain lovers, I think the last outage took an opportunity to be like, what's going on? But that's as much as we know. We know what the public knows. I don't know if it was an outage because some of the work happening on the token 2022 and the SPL extensions. Was it actually something security wise? I mean, we know as much as the public knows, but it's happened on every single blockchain. It's just hopefully it happens at the right time, not the wrong time through the rest of the bull run, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys coin yourself as, I guess, the world's first Unreal Engine game on Solana, right?
Yep.
Are you guys the first? I don't know.
We're actually a couple first, even ahead of the first Unreal Engine game of Solana. We're actually the world's first Bitcoin ordinal inscription on Solana. So SOLORDI is a dog. It's a space moon themed dog that was actually inscribed on the BRC20 Bitcoin meta protocol or Bitcoin derivative. And the dog was inscribed essentially as a BRC20 or a Bitcoin NFT, and then hence the name Ordi. When we launched on Solana, we added the soul back on. But the Unreal Engine game it's all brand new developments. From what we know, we think we're the first, or if we put out the first beta. But hopefully we get to contribute and own and maintain the SDK for Unreal Engine on Solana. So if we get to do that, we get to say we're the first to a lot more things.
Yeah, absolutely. How long have you guys been developing the project?
Yeah, so we launched on December 22nd, 2023, right before Christmas. And, we had a little bit of prep ahead of that. Not much, actually. It was kind of just like one day. We're like, all right, let's do it. And, it's kind of been history since.
Yeah, man, dude, it's awesome. It's crazy how fast-paced crypto is moving.
Yeah.
I was actually talking with Jake Gallen, and he was talking about how memes could eventually be the payment mechanism for the internet. And I don't know if that's something that you've thought about, or maybe a potential thesis that could happen in the not so distant future, where, all this, marketing and everything, and, with the memes and everything, you think it gets to a point where people actually just find it more relatable to pay with SOLORDI or with a Dogecoin or with, I don't know, Shiba Inu or any of these types of Cock Inu and all these different types of bonk. There's so many, nowadays. Yeah.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on it?
So there's actually a popular, I want to say, pizza shop somewhere in New York City that's gotten a ton of press, and it's because they allow, just because it's probably the store owner, crypto OG, they allow payment for pizza in Dogecoin. And so,
wow.
Probably out of a personal choice, let alone a standardization. But some of the exciting developments, especially out of Solana, is kind of this launch of this new SPL token with extensions, which is going to be powering essentially the future of what a stable coin is. And out of that work, Solana actually launched a Solana Pay with a massive partnership with the e-commerce giant Shopify.
Yeah, I
And
saw that.
so you can kind of see where the industry is going now. The token extensions are really amazing. They allow for all different kind of features like taxes, interest bearing. Are you allowed to transfer this or not? Is there a delegate? Is there a default account state? And all of them haven't even kind of been released yet. But if you kind of think of what a currency like the US dollar or the yen or the rupee, how they kind of interact. They kind of are all associated with this concept, right? You have a sales tax, you have a sin tax, you have a property tax, you have all these kind of taxes, and then it's kind of the first of its kind that it's going to be offered through crypto. So I think if some of these utilities can really be harnessed and proven out at scale, then yeah, it's pretty much an inevitable future that cryptocurrency is kind of going to be a digital payment system of the future.
What's your relationship with money?
We love money, right? That's it's human nature. You love it, you hate it.
Yeah,
It kind of drives
absolutely.
society. It's a societal driver. So
Yeah,
definitely need a relationship with money. If you don't have one, you won't have one.
Okay, so I have a couple interesting theories.
Yeah.
I was actually talking because this is like my second podcast. Man, I've been busy today, but
Oh wow,
but
fun. Happy Friday.
yeah, man, yeah, it's all work, no play. But yeah, so one thing that I was thinking about, because I don't really believe in Marxism and socialism as a whole, just because it stagnates growth, and it's it stagnates innovation too as well, right? And so I like capitalism a lot, but I think capitalism is a little bit getting destroyed, not because of capitalism itself, because I think the actual extent of capitalism was supposed to make things actually cheaper. And
Mm,
let me explain to you what I mean, right? So if I have a business and let's say I'm running a business and people are seeing that it's extracting a lot of value from people, right, in exchange for whatever my good or service is, someone else is then going to start another business and maybe have a nuance to it, right, that somebody else will see, oh, both these businesses are working, and then try to figure out how they can get in and tap in because they see it working for both of us. And so you end up having more and more supply of people with similar businesses and business models. And
mm,
if there was a supply cap on the amount of money that there actually was, well, then we would actually have more competitive pricing and things would actually get cheaper, because
yep.
it'd be more supply of business and a fixed demand of the medium of exchange, which what we call money, right? And so I actually think the true form, purest form of capitalism is actually supposed to make things way cheaper. But I don't know what you think about these theses.
No, I mean it's a great point. I think
Yeah.
one of the top venture capitalists here in Chicago runs a venture capital firm called TechX, and
Mhm.
he's kind of like, why is the value of Bitcoin potentially or theoretically have a higher value than basic currency? And so, I mean, the fundamental principle is that Bitcoin has limited supply, and the U.S. dollar and all the other global currencies can be printed. I mean, you walk into a grocery store, right? You feel like you're not really sure what happened, but somehow, let's say your normal fare is $50, and you get things like Diet Coke or eggs, and you're kind of having that budget because you want to save up for that new car, and then here we are saying all the prices are going up because of inflation, but really it seems like the higher prices, they're here to stay because we have an unlimited supply of the currency that are being used to pay for those. And so it's not only an increase in prices um, on your normal goods, but it's also on your taxes, your cost of living, and there's pretty much an endless graph that points to just a higher cost of living. And really, that's not fair. And so, going back to your original point, capitalism at its purest form essentially would have a limited supply. Hence, could cryptocurrency kind of be the hedge or really kind of the catalyst for making that reality that, capitalism um, can help fix prices and, supply the fixed demand?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a very, very interesting thesis, but I do believe that this is sort of a checks and balance against the state having one node, and being
Absolutely.
able,
So
because
true.
that's what it is. They have one node. They decide when they want to change the monetary policy, and then we all have to scramble with like a chicken with their heads cut off to become professional risk takers, because that's
Yep.
essentially what's happening. Is like, oh, I can't just extract a finite, okay, I can't basically just trade a finite thing, which is time, for an infinite supply, which is money. I also then need to then take that infinite supply and then put it into risky assets or risky investments that I have to then educate myself on and find the time, which is again finite, to do so, right? And I think this is it's just one crazy thing. And the people who are able to do that or able to balance that in some kind of capacity have a strategic advantage. And so every year when they then decide to increase then the money supply, those people who, you or me, or, the people that are educated in the know, who understand how the monetary policy works, are in assets. And so those
Hmm.
assets effectively then go up in price, but they're actually not even going up in price. What's actually happening is the purchasing power is actually just decreasing, you
Absolutely.
know?
So let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
So let's say inflation is a real concept, right? Prices of goods go up. Who raises the prices? Is it the producer, which is that central nose you alluded to, or is it actually the consumer who asks for higher wages? It's kind of like a chicken and egg, but I'm curious to get your take on
Oh man, that one is tough. I would say,
that.
man, man, I would say it's a very, very nuanced question, and it depends on the circumstance of the fiscal policy.
Hmm.
I think if the fiscal policy is increasing the wages based off of the demand from the people saying that, hey, inflation is going too high, then on the back end, people then will then raise their prices as a business, because to keep up with the expense of having employees. So I think it depends on the fiscal policy more so, but that one's a very, very tricky one, man.
Yeah,
But
you gotta do some math, like economist style. It is tricky. I mean,
yeah,
again, it's like a chicken and egg. I think, you got the groups of people saying that people asking for higher wages are generating inflation, and then you have the central node printing money to suffice their demand, and so everything kind of increases as a result of it. But here we are. I mean, we're kind of that's what's really amazing about cryptocurrency. It's just creating new general wealth, generational wealth. It's a new economy. It's a new way of life in all facets, and it's kind of like it's just a matter of time until it's more widely adopted. And
yeah,
that's what's really exciting about it, to be honest.
no, dude, absolutely, man. And it's a very interesting space, because I can't think of another space in the world where you're not really, because usually like normal businesses, what ends up happening is you create a set product or service, and then people then want that product or service, and then they exchange it for for dollars, and then they get the product or service. I feel like crypto is more extracting the value, sucking the life out of the traditional system into
Absolutely.
then the crypto system, and then after product later. I think that's why I wanted to get into a little bit, because NFTs for me is just NFTs and meme coins for me. I actually see them more as bootstrapping vehicles. And so what you do is then you market yourself properly. You then extract then the value, and then you all decide, once the value is placed there into your project, where the direction of the project should go in this sort of community sort of governance. And I
Hmm.
don't know if that's how you kind of see it in this new form of bootstrapping projects.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it spot on. It really goes to the, fundamental is that crypto provides a solution really to the limitations of traditional finance, right, globally. And
Yeah.
so, just kind of increasing our borderless world, like you kind of saw on Web 2 and social media came out. This is essentially the utility or the underlying layer to eliminate things like foreign exchange fees, long transfer times, high transaction costs, which have been pain points of, you know, basic businesses scaling, and
Yeah.
also basic businesses providing their monopolies on general public. And
Yeah.
just going back to the meme coin and the NFT culture, I think big tokens, powered on Solana like Bonk, they say, our front end is a meme token, but our back end is DeFi, and we're changing the way the world works.
Yeah.
The way they've kind of created all different utilities to enable better buying and selling of crypto, better payment solutions. They've partnered with travel companies, and it just kind of paints the picture that the front end can be beautiful and quirky and laughable, but the back end is a basic utility that serves basic human needs that are just way faster, cheaper, and better. And
Yeah,
same thing goes
absolutely.
with NFTs. I mean, NFTs could be, you said you get it, buy a ticket and go into a sporting event or a concert, right? Now NFTs serve as not only a piece of digital art, which could potentially go increase in value based on speculation and kind of the way that market is, but it could also serve as a utility and access into that community. Or maybe you get a basic permission that's only accessed by the person that holds this NFT. So it's really interesting, but it kind of, yeah, it's just painting the picture of the way the world's going. You either get with it or you don't. I mean,
Yeah.
it goes back to your thesis. Do you like money or not? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Because the entire landscape of money, I think crypto is kind of trolling the current system in place. That's kind of how I see crypto, It's a big troll, like saying like, look, this whole system that you have in place is a joke. And we should actually be, if back to my original thesis about capitalism, if it is correct, if I am correct on this, that if everyone was to uniformly agree upon a fixed supply currency that isn't controlled by anybody and is decentralized, could it then get to a point where we work then less instead of more? And I kind of look at El Salvador and what they're doing.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Bukele, what he ended up doing was increasing or decreasing taxes to zero for technological companies, and obviously Bitcoin's legal tender there too as well, right? So it then entices entrepreneurs then to come. Those entrepreneurs then start building and creating new forms of projects that then need employees, and they hire then the locals. And the locals now have another income source, and it starts stimulating the economy and creates a circular economy, right? And he also then reduced then the government by 80%, right?
Yep.
So my thing is, this is a very theoretical question. I don't know if we wanted to get into this, but we just kind of got down this rabbit hole. But so I wanted to ask you, to what extent is the government needed, or do you think the government is needed at all?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's kind of like fresh in everyone's minds is the Bitcoin spot ETF, right?
Yeah.
And so I think America was one of the first to approve it. And, obviously America is very big in the financial system. We got Grayscale and Golden Smacks. And, the basic question is, there's no crypto regulation. And the SEC and the CFTC have kind of been barking about, this is an industry for where scams happen. But when there's the opportunity to offer a financial product that is not offered anywhere else in the world, America jumps on it. And so it's just kind of interesting to see that as a nation, we don't want to be left behind as it comes to technological advancement.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we want to say this possible currency tender is related to illicit activities. So yeah, I mean, you see El Salvador picking it up. I think Denmark, Germany, Japan, Switzerland, Spain, and UK. I don't know if they passed it or not, but a lot of these places they're kind of moving in that direction to say that if you want to have especially in poor countries where the value of Bitcoin could be higher than their local currency. So for the general public that has put money in their bank and has lost it for whatever reason, it serves as a store of value, one that it's safe, one that's untraceable, one that, if your local government possibly is communist and, has their opinions on the way you should live. It's a way to, get by them because everyone has to survive and, people have mouths to feed.
Yeah,
So it's really good. I mean, a lot of these countries are kind of seeing the future, and it's really just the beginning, and hopefully it advances them and their economies of scale as they keep growing.
yeah. You know what's it's just so fascinating to me how the system works because I think even still to this day, a lot of people don't understand that when you deposit money to a bank, you're effectively leasing control of your
Hmm.
value to them.
Yep.
And I just don't see that as a sustainable system long term. And then you saw what happened in Ukraine, where people were lined up to try to get their money out of the bank,
Yep.
and
Yep.
we already know how, that's all she wrote, so we know how
Absolutely.
that story goes, man. And it happens time and time and time again, but people continue to continuously do it. And I'm not entirely sure, like I said, how the future is going to look, but I am very, very intrigued about this landscape of NFTs, man. And also like what you guys are doing too, as well, with sort of this augmented reality sort of type of thing. And can you just break that down a little bit for me, because I'm very, very new into like the augmented reality, and my knowledge base is quite small.
Yeah. So we kind of, you've seen traditional NFTs, and they're just standard images, and there's associated value with them. And I was really big on Snapchat when it had came out. I was actually one of the first early adopters of the Snapchat spectacles. And when
Mm.
Snapchat came out with all their filters and kind of that layer of engagement, you kind of saw, where Snapchat was trying to go with their hardware and software integrations. Then you had a big player like TikTok come around, and so
Yeah.
we kind of always envisioned our augmented reality NFTs to, one, be different and unique and more interactive. Essentially, if you have in a Solordi NFT, you can scan your phone right on the QR code, and then a Solordi dog doing the animation that you purchased will show up in your living room. So we have about 10 animations today. They spread all the way from doing the moonwalk to doing a body pump to running really fast like Flash, shooting spider webs like Spider-Man, we and the most popular one, which is a Fortnite themed skin, where Solordi is shooting a candy gun,
Oh,
and
wow.
that kind of planted a seed for, all right, community, we're actually launching a game, and these NFTs can be in-game assets, kind of that bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. And so, yeah, I think it was the kind of the desire to be unique, as well as sort of an announcement to say, all right, these aren't just like NFTs for you to look shiny and play with. They're actually going to be assets in Solordia, the Saga Begins game.
Dude, that's freaking cool, man. And about this, okay, so you guys, so I had to ask because I'm a little bit confused. So you launched the NFTs then on Solana, and then you went and then minted new NFTs on Bitcoin in the BRC20 ecosystem, correct?
So the kind of the order of it was we launched Solordi, a SPL token on
Yeah,
Solana.
yeah,
Then we went and launched, so the ticker of Solordi is Solo, SOLO.
yeah,
Then we went on to the BRC20 on Unisat and essentially provided minting for the BRC20 inscriptions, which are the Bitcoin NFTs. And we
yeah.
called those OLOS, which is solo backwards, and then left that to our community to go ahead and mint. We just had a 1 billion supply there. And so these NFTs, the AR NFTs, those are completely separate. Those were minted through Solana's Metaplex,
Okay.
and we've minted about 160 NFTs, and about 16 of them, kind of like our beta ones, they're out in the Magic Eden marketplace. So these are two separate initiatives: the BRC20 Bitcoin NFT, and then the Solana augmented reality NFTs.
Is there potential for like cross-chain sort of communication between them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been a ton of like tokenomic studies to enable rewards, and my co-dev, he's actually an attorney. And one of our biggest things, like you see a lot of these tokens launching, they offer things like staking rewards. And the biggest thing for the SEC is that if you go back to read some of the things that SafeMoon, what got them in trouble is that they had,
Yeah.
they had basically promised some sort of like reward mechanism that they're technologically incapable of. And so my co-dev being a lawyer that he is, he said that, cross-chain rewards are some of the most secured form of rewards. And then also the game as a utility is one of the most, safest ways to kind of unlock and incentivize long-term holders versus, just having a simple staking mechanism on your existing coin. And being in the US, like we're kind of just always forward thinking because our regulation is a little bit late compared to other parts of the world.
Hey bro, I'm just trolling is something that will not just challenge your perspective, but also touch your heart and soul. It's a book that defies convention, blending art and literature into a thought-provoking masterpiece. A reflective piece of provocative art that tackles societal constructs from angles you've never considered. Hey bro, I'm just trolling delves into the very essence of our existence. It questions the technology that surrounds us, challenges our notions of beauty, stares unflinchingly into the eyes of death, and questions the boundaries of freedom. It scrutinized the educational system that molds our very future. This book is a journey, an exploration of shared human experience, and it's a work of art that refuses to be confined by tradition. It's a canvas painted with words, a melody of thought, and a testament to the power of creativity in a world dominated by algorithms and data. Visit moonboycapitalventures.com and get your hands on Hey Bro, I'm Just Trolling today. It's not just a book, it's a movement. Now let's jump back into the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me more about the game.
Yeah, so we've been touting this Unreal Engine 5. Obviously, Fortnite Battle Royale, very popular game, 15 million daily active users. We actually applied to be a part of the Fortnite Island Creator Program, and it's just taking a long time. So Solana Labs actually got a view of one of our augmented reality NFTs in one of their events, and they actually invited us in to their top secret office. I didn't even know they had an office in my hometown, but they do. And so went up there, learned about their new initiative called Game Shift that they announced on the Solana Labs Twitter a couple weeks ago. And Game Shift is essentially an API layer that sits in between Web3 assets and Web2 gameplay. If you imagine like having Web3 assets and gameplay, it might not be the fastest, smartest, sleekest gaming experience. And if you're a hardcore gamer, you know that frames per second are very important. And so Solana, they announced their new initiative called Game Shift, which we're participating in, is kind of one of the leads into looking at what Unreal Engine could unlock for the Solana ecosystem. And yeah, coming out with our game with the intent to launch it on their new Saga mobile phone is one of the first. We call it kill to earn. I don't know if we've coined that yet, but if you remember in the previous bull runs, a lot of these play to earn games came out.
Of course,
Since we're a third-person shooter, battle royale style game, we're gonna start going down the line of calling it kill to earn. And we're super excited about all the developments, and hopefully you see a gameplay footage trailer here in the near future.
What's the time frame? How is it with your team? Do you need funding? Do you have all the elements that you need to be able to facilitate this game? And if you do, how long then will it take?
Well, yeah, I think our token is valued at a little bit over $500,000 right now in market cap, and obviously being a dev, we have access to allocation and what our token is worth. So that's why we've kind of remained bootstrapped, because we have value stored in SOLORDI token. And so, we have an animator on board, kind of like this game studio function. And then we have a gaming developer or a gaming engineer who's been working on Unreal Engine games for a really long time. And so us kind of combining all of our talents, we think we're going to have the game, at least a beta version of it, out very soon. Because of Fortnite Battle Royale, at least the Unreal Engine 4 version, there's an open source version of it already. If we went ahead and used some of the version 5 technologies, we kind of just have a competitive advantage because of our developer relations. So we think we want to put out a kind of like an MVP or a beta, maybe just a downloadable link from our website. Just get feedback from the community, give them first access, obviously, and then get feedback, and then just continue tooling. I think it's going to be an iterative process, ongoing journey. But yeah, we're going to have version 1 out, hopefully close to the Bitcoin halving time.
Man, that's awesome, man. Are you outsourcing the labor, or are you keeping it all in-house in the States?
We're all in house, not necessarily all in the States.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, we're a team. It started off as 2 of us. We're actually, in the works of expanding. There's other projects. Just getting into the Solana ecosystem has been highly, highly valuable. Everyone has been super helpful, always connecting you to the next person, and yeah, that's how kind of we've been able to grow our team.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. What about grants? Have you been able to get any sort of Solana grants?
Not yet. There's a couple grants on our radar. We'll see if they come out from the Solana Foundation. They have a grant. There's also a Bonk-led hackathon that's going to be coming out at the end of March for GameFi, for specifically for grant opportunities. But
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. If they come up in the ecosystem, we're ready to go ahead and apply, and yeah, kind of provide our expertise and hopefully benefit the ecosystem in an open source standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. What about, let's shift over to partnerships, because I saw OKX, and I think Jupe was on there too as well. And there was another sort of, I guess, was it a venture capital or something like that? I can't remember exactly, but there was a couple partnerships that I saw. Can you speak to a little bit of the partnerships that you guys are doing, and like what is it specifically that they're helping out with in terms of the value exchange?
Yeah, so OKX is where our OLOS BRC20 inscriptions are. OKX
Yeah,
is one of the biggest peer-to-peer over-the-counter marketplaces for BRC20 tokens. So, it only made sense to go there. And then, yeah, just listing on various Solana dexes. We started off on Radium, and then we entered into Jupe.ag, Jupiter Dex. And then the one you're probably referring to was the Gotbit hedge fund
yes,
partnership.
yes.
Yeah, so Gotbit is a kind of a traditional, what they call a market maker. And
Got
so
it.
if you're familiar in, the stock market, they have large institutions that, act as market makers that they strategically buy and sell your stock, and, make sure when everyone buys, they buy or they sell, and then when everyone sells, they buy, and they maintain essentially a price. And so they can consistently extract and fix a net profit, and essentially leverage those to the founding team's treasury. And so we can use that. And so they use all this, Gotbit is very advanced. They use AI and a lot of different kind of algorithms to optimize your crypto. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much how else I'm trying to say what's public and
Uh,
what's not, but
yeah,
they're a
yeah.
very powerful player within especially in the Solana ecosystem.
Yeah. Just yeah, it's very interesting, to see, how you guys have been able to get this connected so quickly, the internet, I guess,
I mean, you said it yourself. Crypto moves lightning speed, so it's just, yeah, it's every
Yeah,
day. There's
absolutely.
no sleep allowed. Basically, that's how we're able to move as fast as we do.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Move fast and break things. I'm on that sort of side of the fence too, as well. And what about the utility of the coin itself, or the token? Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, the token itself, like utilities in our bread and butter, right? We were inscribed as a Bitcoin ordinal, and we launched on Solana. And then it's just the utility applications underneath the coin. The coin is always kind of the front end, the face, the branding, and then all the other utilities you provide to your users. So, they can extract value from your ecosystem. So we started off, our first utility that we made was called Solana Top Dogs, which is essentially a Telegram bot, and an API that Dex Screener. I don't know if you've been on Dex Screener, but it's a
Yeah,
website
of
that,
course. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, we created a nice little UI in Telegram where people could just go onto Deck Screener and we'll show you all the trending coins by, however time interval, as
Mm.
well as fully diluted market cap. And so instead of having to go to Deck Screener, you can just go to Telegram and quickly look and, open up charts, open up where you could buy it all from your phone. And so that was kind of the first utility we launched ahead of launching Olos and then the AR NFTs and now the game. But it's kind of just, going back to what a meme of present day memes. It's a lot different than when Doge and Shiba Inu were, finding their time in the bull run, because just all the advancements in crypto and what your community requires out of you to be a sustainable coin long term.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. There has to be some sort of game plan after the fact that you've launched and you've gotten the hype and you've done the marketing correctly of what you're going to do then with the funds. And I have a couple questions, because to go back to because are you guys, because I saw something about some development of the SDK to help streamline the process for people in the future to be able to deliver games on the Solana ecosystem. I don't know if you could speak to that, or if is that
Yeah.
real? Okay. So you guys
So
are
basically,
doing that.
Solana has everything is open source, right? I think at the top level, Solana Foundation is a non-for-profit. And I mean, their ecosystem and bringing developers and engineers to the ecosystem would always be beneficial to the blockchain, Solana blockchain. So yeah, we are working on, ahead of our game. Hasn't been formalized yet, and we're not sure if it's going to formalize, but we're kind of in this, I'd say, discovery phase to seeing
Yeah.
if it's beneficial specifically to our project and the ecosystem. If we were to develop kind of this open source software development kit specifically for Unreal Engine and the integration with GameShift on Solana, would there be more developers that want to make games, Web3 and Web2 games interact with each other? Would there be the demand for it if we put the time and energy, received the grant and put the time and energy to building that? So that's kind of what we're in the discovery phase for as we speak, with people from the labs team, the foundation team, and a couple other key individuals. So hopefully in the next few weeks we find out if that's the pathway we want to go down. But for our community, they're going to benefit the most for when our game comes out and they can start playing it and earning more Solordi.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And I saw something that you guys are looking to get in touch with Epic Games.
Yeah, so Epic Games is kind of the maker of Unreal Engine.
Okay. Okay, so because I saw Epic Games, didn't they get bought out by Disney? Wasn't it? I saw something like Disney, I guess, paid like 1.5 billion. I don't know if it was just a part of the stake, or they actually just now own Epic Games. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't know if
You're
you're
more
privy.
ahead than me on current events, because yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Oh, it looks like, yeah, I just Googled something, Disney and Epic Games to create a massive, expansive open source thing. I also saw something on Disney dabbling into metaverse. So I mean,
Yeah.
if anybody's gonna do it, we love Disney. It's so funny that you mentioned them, because my co-dev is spending the weekend in Disney World with his family right now. So
Who would have thought, right? And
right,
they're partnered with Polygon too as well, if I'm not mistaken. They have their hands in the Web3 space. They're just kind of low key doing it, Uh,
totally agree.
like a
Yep.
lot of these companies, they want to get in, but they don't want to brand themselves as such. Nike, Amazon, they had like some kind of marketplace that they tried to launch, I think last year. I don't know, NFT marketplace. Well, I don't know what came about that. To be honest, I didn't follow up, but there's some interesting experimentation, I would say, going on.
They always, even I remember they had a big partnership with Apple at one point to develop kind of like their Disney key. So like I don't know if you've been to like a Disney event. We had a Disney cruise last year as a family. And yeah, everything is done with this like RFID key, like all
Oh
your
wow,
account data, your profile, like your kids' preferences on food, and it's just insane, like how technologically advanced Disney is. Like you
yeah.
think of them as this wholesome family company, but they're really a tech company behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you 100%. And Do you think, because in this age of digitalization of everything, how do you see it? Because I know that there's, the introduction of the CBDCs are coming, and
Mm-hmm.
who do you think wins out here? Do you think, because here's the thing, because I try to get myself out of the crypto bubble and talk to normal people that aren't in crypto all the time. Yeah. Because, when you're in this space, like, oh yeah, this is so obvious. Like everybody's going to get in and this is going to change the world and everything. But the normal outsider wakes up every morning, goes to work Monday through Friday, comes back home, eats, and maybe watch some Netflix or scrolls on TikTok and
Yep.
does it again.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
on the weekends, they maybe like go get a beer with their buddy at the bar. That's the normal person,
Yep.
So they don't care about all that. And the algorithm isn't pushing that type of crypto information to them if they're not seeking it, right?
Totally. Totally.
So my question to you is, how aware do you think the public is? And do you think the public is going to care when they change then the system from the current, hybrid cash to digitalization system that we have now to going fully programmable, with one node again?
Yeah, and I'll say this is a really societal philosophical question. I mean, people didn't know that they needed the iPhone until it was introduced, right? And
Yeah,
it's funny when
absolutely.
you said CBDC because I think there's a meme coin on Solana that's trending, which is also called CBDC, which is kind of like a gag on the actual central bank and digital currency. So
Yeah, yeah.
no, I really believe that. Like, I mean, when we get through this, probably I've been saying it. This is going to be the last bull run for all of us degens that have been with crypto for a while. 4 years from now, I think maybe our parents are going to be like, "Hey, isn't that time of year where it's election year and Bitcoin minting gets slowed down? Maybe you guys should get involved." And I think the spot ETF will also help regular people adopt, but. I think I mean, it's just the way people live, right? If you're accustomed to that 9 to 5 traditional lifestyle, they still have 401k plans in their employer sponsored benefits, right? So crypto is going to find its
Yeah.
way to them either way. They might not be like us, like on Phantom Wallet and like all these, backdoor, decentralized exchanges, but they will find out about it one way or another because that's the way the world's going.
Yeah, but do you think that they would choose more so the CBDC, because the government's going to market this thing once it
Oh
once
yeah.
it drops a lot. So that's what my fear is, that most people be like, "Oh yeah, it just makes more sense and it's open 24/7. I get my money right away, and it's cool. It's better. I could transact on the weekends and people can get stuff on Sundays and Saturdays, and yeah, it's just digital." That's how they're gonna market it. I've seen the Fed Now commercials already. And I've
So I mean, you probably know more than me about CBDC. I
yeah.
mean, so it's basically like a 24/7 digital bank. Like, what's the whole plan of
Yeah,
it?
so they basically, so the idea is to have one central bank and to
Mhm.
basically have basically one node again verifying everything, right? But they're going to do it programmably. You're going to leverage blockchain technology to do it, right? So they're going to be in control of all the nodes. And so basically it's sort of the digitalized system that we have now, except it's more programmable. So then they can trace then all the transactions that are happening, and they can just put in the algorithm what they want you to be able to purchase and what you can't purchase, right? To go
I
in
see.
conjunction with the digital IDs that they're trying to roll out too as well. Because they're tired of there's a lot of bots. If you look at like LinkedIn, and I
Yep.
think another
Yep.
platform is doing it too as well, this verification.
Hmm.
So the wild, wild west of the internet days are slowly dying. They're slowly dying away. And so that's my thing, is like, okay, if they're going to market this thing, because the initial paperwork that came out, because it's actually public, they said that they were just going to basically use it for businesses, right? And that's how it always starts, with these things. It's kind of like with oh, we're just going to tax the people that are at 100 million. And then you go 100 million towards the 50 million, and 50 million towards the 10 million. And then, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And
Yep.
so this is usually how it goes. So I'm scared that when that happens, where they switch from, okay, we're just going to implement this for like businesses, to okay, now the end consumer can now use it. And what they're going to do is probably, I think in Greece they did something similar, where to help them adopt the euro, they just like airdropped like 50. They said like, if you if you
Wow.
adopt the euro, yeah, they just airdropped money, you know what I mean, to you, for the people who
It's
adopted the euro.
crazy.
Exactly. So it incentivizes you then to switch then from the old system. I think they could do a similar thing, and it could happen way quicker. Even like if you look at the what was it, COVID, and then they had the stimmy checks, right?
Yep.
You know,
Stay
so
home, don't work. You're gonna get
exactly,
it. Yeah.
exactly. So that this could be another way in which they could be like, hey, there's this huge, I don't know, another pandemic or something crazy happens. Like this way, you can get your money quicker, or you can wait 2 weeks. And this
This
is
is
how it kind
crazy.
of,
I mean,
this is how
you're
they
kind of
operate.
enlightening me. Yeah, like I said, I've been heads down on just working on all this, and I'm reading about this CBDC, and this is the real deal, huh? Or at
Yeah,
least the
it's
attempt at it. Yeah.
exactly. The euro beta launched last year along with the Fed now beta. They both launched last year. I had like a huge podcast talking about it.
Wow, I'll
And
have to search it. So it's like
yeah,
basically stable coins issued by the government. Is that a good
exactly.
way of, summarizing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And here's the problem with it too as well, right? This is one thing that I think about on the macro scale. I am in Kenya. Now I'm a Kenyan, and I'm
Okay.
trying to sell you a Kenyan mug, and I'm trying to sell them into the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, how it would happen previously was, hey, we'll just use the US dollar as the medium of exchange because the global reserve currency the most liquid, right? This is how it's working now, right? So you need to swap, then whatever it is that you're trying to sell back and forth, US dollars has been the mediation, right?
Right.
And that's how it's worked. But with the US dollars, a CBDC, you saw what they just did to Russia, right? In the SWIFT banking system, they just pushed the button, and now people couldn't use Visa, MasterCard, couldn't transact. Imagine you have like a daughter and she's in university, I don't know, Harvard or somewhere,
Mm,
and now you can't send her money, right? And so you start to see the issue of now having your reserves in a CBDC, because
mm.
then that's like ultimate control. So I think the only mediation for that is Bitcoin. This was my only conclusion, is because, well, I'm not going to trust your CBDC. You're not going to trust my CBDC. And then all the other countries are going to start launching CBDCs.
All right.
So what is one thing
The
that's
one common across of all of them, right?
exactly? And so my only conclusion was Bitcoin. Like, if you have any other conclusions, let me know. But this is my entire theory that came out on the podcast to break it all down, and to why I think Bitcoin is literally the only solution that I could see if this thing start getting launched, because it's too dangerous.
I'm just kind of surprised, really.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like eat or be eaten kind of thing. And
Yeah.
was Russia the first nation to launch this? Or I mean, with all the stuff they got going on, I'm surprised they
No,
have like.
no, Russia wasn't the first to launch it. I think it was okay. So I know the euro dropped. This wasn't for Russia. This is for like Europe. So they had
Got it.
The euro beta dropped last year, I believe in October, and the Fed now
Mm,
dropped a little bit, I think earlier in July or January, or not July or June, I believe so. And so they're just running beta test right now, and then they're going
mm,
to start rolling it out slowly. And even the EU's, they want to start. It's the same even in the States. It's happening simultaneously. They want to start tracking transactions that are like less than like $500 in Europe, and it's the same in the States now, where it's crazy. So it's like, if I can't even sell my couch without having to file it, like,
pay taxes. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what it is. This is what it sounds like. I mean, it's going to impact a lot of small business owners, and yeah, you selling things off your Facebook Marketplace. It
yeah,
looks like just a new way to be tracked on, everything you do with your money. And I kind of agree. There's always going to be a backdoor, and it's going to be Bitcoin or other layer ones that are out there. But this is very interesting, and I appreciate all your knowledge that you're dropping. But
nah, dude,
you kind of see where the world's going. I mean, it's an inevitable
yeah.
future. You either get with it or you get left behind.
Yeah, dude, absolutely, man. Yeah, because I'm very, very big, and just looking and making sure I understand the news and what's going on, and trying to put the pieces together to try to inform people on things they should maybe look out for. I'm not trying to be this sort of conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but this is stuff that they've put out publicly. It's public knowledge that they said that, and even Christine Lagarde, who's the head of the ECB, the European Central Bank, she said, yeah, we basically want full control. This is what she said. This is not me, trying to make some kind of fake news or anything. It's all public knowledge, you know? And so the MiCA regulations are also coming out here in Europe. And I think the states are going to end up formulating their own version once the Coinbase stuff gets done. I think is the XRP lawsuit still going on? I think there's a couple stuff that's still going on and still lingering in the US before they can actually come up with proper regulations that make sense. But things are going to get regulated. I think this, like you said, this is the last cycle to, I think, really do really well. If you've been in this space for at least 3-4 years, 5 years, 6 years, you know, this is really the last time, the last hoorah to I don't want to use the word like escape the matrix, because it's just so cliche.
That's what's happening. Yep. It totally is the last. I mean, if you look at just like trending history between just daily transactional volume, it's just kind of went up and up and up. And now, you got things like the CBDC. All eyes are on the lawsuit with XRP. You know, people are they buying it? Are they long on it? You know, what's happening? But it's going to be the last time, especially with the spot ETFs and all regulation that's trying to come down on something that people created and people have the value. And, the governments don't like it when the value and the control is with the people. And so the governments are going to do whatever it takes to kind of get it back. I mean, it kind of goes back to the bartering system, right? If there's a good and, people are acting outside of the bank, they can go ahead and do it. But, what about the tax that comes with the local economy? And I mean, it's very interesting times. We're really bullish specifically on Solana. No, I just appreciate your time and your space, Moonboy, and great to see you in our Solordi community as well. And hope to be on one of your podcasts again in the future.
Yeah, dude, it's been great, honestly, man. Man, your project's very interesting. So, where can people find your project on the internet?
Yeah, they could just go to solordi.com, SOLORDI.com.
Okay, perfect, man. Perfect. This concludes in another great episode of the Mooncast, man. And peace.